For the Honorable Judge Snoop. You may be seated. Courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. Snoop Dogg's courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. What? Push and shove and they nudge you. Call you out and they judge you. Filed a case and it bugged you. Now you're sitting in front of Judge Snoop. Came in as the plaintiff, no witness for the defendant. Smiling and you grinning, cause this case you think you winning. Courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. Snoop Dogg's courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos.
Welcome to Courtroom Chaos, featuring Judge Snoop Dogg, the Dogfather himself. We're building the case on the spot, so you can use the most ridiculous arguments to make sense of it. Plaintiff and defendant, grab your phones and tell the court what makes you special, or all warm and fuzzy on the inside. We'll tailor a completely original trial, made just for you.
Good to see everybody here. It's Judge Snoop, bringing a little West Coast breeze to the halls of justice. You tell the truth, I'll keep it fair, and we'll all walk out of here feeling right. Now, on to the case. All right, listen up. Parker here was posted up in their garage, taking Spider-Man photos for J. Jonah Jameson when Dominic rolled through with some alien diplomats. Now, these extraterrestrials got offended by Dominic's comment about Spider-Man's stinky feet. Diplomatic incident, you dig? They seized Parker's whole garage as intergalactic compensation. Parker's demanding $2.9 million for the lost photography setup and emotional damages. Facts delivered. Now let's get this party started with opening statements. All right, Parker, let's hear it. Break down why Dominic's alien diplomats got no right seizing your whole garage, you dig? Hold up now. Are you keeping it 100 with me? Or just spicing up the story to make yourself look good? Hold up, Parker. You said your home like a poor and screwed up, but you're asking for $2.9 million for a photography setup? That math ain't adding up, nephew. So real talk, how broke are we really talking here? Hold up, nephew. So Parker's eating ramen every day and lost a $2.9 million setup? That's rough for shizzle. But that don't make Dominic responsible for your finances. Your situation is tragic, but that ain't the case we're trying here. All right, Dominic, let's hear your side. How you gonna explain bringing alien diplomats to Parker's garage and then all this madness that went down? Nephew, that's weak. You brought aliens all the way to Parker's garage. Got them heated about Bob Butts' Spider-Man's feet. And that's your defense? You played yourself. Real talk. You need something stronger than blaming the web slinger's hygiene for a diplomatic crisis. That ain't it. Yo, Parker, I hear the struggle in that statement, you dig? Before Dominic showed up with those aliens, were you feeling good about your setup? And when they took it all, what was going through your head in that moment? Help me understand the full weight of what went down. Look, I feel you on that emotional weight, Parker. World ending, losing your setup, that's heavy. But you gotta give me something more concrete than feelings, you dig? What specifically got taken? Walk me through what was actually in that garage so I understand what we're talking about here. All right, Dominic, let me hear your side. I need you to paint me a picture of exactly what went down when those alien diplomats rolled up. What did you say? What did they do? And how did Parker's garage go from photography studio to intergalactic evidence locker? Walk me through it. Your words paint a picture already, but let's do one better. My associates are crafting a real image of your tale. Sit tight while the visual drama unfolds. All right, so the exhibit shows 3 brown-headed aliens and a barefoot Spider-Man floating overhead. That's wild, but it don't explain how Dominic's comment about feet caused the diplomatic seizure of Parker's whole garage. Nephew, you gotta connect those dots better for me. All right, we're at the finish line now. Time for closing statements. Parker, come on up and give me your final word on why Dominic needs to make this right. And don't forget what went down in that garage that day. Plaintiff, you came in hot and left it hotter. My ruling might already be written in my head. Hold up, Parker. You've been saying Dominic tricked aliens this whole time, but you ain't shown me how that trick went down. That's a weak closer, nephew. You had your shot to lay it out clear, and instead you just pointed fingers. That ain't gonna hold up. All right, Dominic. You heard what went down with those aliens? Now lay it on me, nephew. How you gonna fix this mess? All right, defendant, that was a solid closer. And real talk, I appreciate everyone in this courtroom for bringing their time, their words, and their energy. This case has been a ride. Nephew, that's real smooth talking, but you already told me aliens were your friends and Spider-Man's feet were the issue. Now you gonna go apologize? That's like closing the barn after the horse already left with your whole garage, you dig? This court's about what happened, not what you planning to do next. All right, you've kept this courtroom buzzing all day, from the first word to the last. There's been energy, there's been fun, and there's been more than a few memorable moments. But now the gavel's in my hand, and it's time to bring this ride to a stop. All right, here's how I'm seeing this. Parker came with emotion, but no real foundation, talking about feeling broke while demanding nearly $3 million and never proved Dominic actually deceived anybody. Dominic's story stayed consistent about what went down, even if his alien diplomacy skills need work. Parker didn't show me the deception claim had teeth. Case closed on the merits. I'm ruling in favor of Dominic. All right, Parker, you came swinging hard but landed in the web, you dig? No damages, no compensation. Here's what you're gonna do. Run out that courtroom yelling, "I'll be back with better photos." Arms flailing like you just got zapped by an alien ray. Make it dramatic. Make it count. That's your sentence, nephew. Truth gon' rise. And today, it rose in Dominic's favor. Gavel down, case closed. We were done here.
All rise for the Honorable Judge Snoop. You may be seated. Courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. Snoop Dogg's courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. What? All rise for the Honorable Judge Snoop. You may be seated. Courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. Snoop Dogg's courtroom call you up and they judge you. Filed a case and it bugs you. Now you're sitting in front of Judge Snoop. Came in as the plaintiff, no witness for the defendant. Smiling and you grinning, cause this case you think you winning. Courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. Snoop Dogg's courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. Objection. Overruled. All rise for the Honorable Judge Snoop. You may be seated.
Welcome back to Courtroom Chaos, where we're building cases on the spot, based on your vibrant personalities. Therefore, besides our court-appointed artist, the cases are always sketchy. Plaintiff and defendant, it's your time to shine. Tell the court who you are and what's your favorite thing to do on a Friday night. We'll spin that info into courtroom gold.
You've made it to my court, where the facts matter, the truth wins, and I might hand out style points if you plead your case with flair. Let's see who's got what. All right, check it. Dominic over here, an expert on dinosaur flight, was chilling at the Natural History Museum late night, dropping knowledge about pterodactyls when Larry walked in. Larry then stole Dominic's whole presentation, claimed it as their own artistic vision, and sold it to a documentary company for mad cash. Dominic's asking for $150 to cover the disrespect and lost opportunities. That's cold, nephew. I've laid out the nitty-gritty and painted the picture. Now it's time for your voices to be heard. All right, Dominic. Lay it down for me, nephew. Tell the court how Larry walked off with your pterodactyl knowledge and left you holding nothing but air. All right, nephew, I hear you trying to do your presentation, but yo, that's like showing up to the court and saying you were trying to win the case. You dig? I need more meat on them bones. What exactly was stolen? Let's get into it. All right, Larry, let's hear how you gonna tell me you didn't walk in that museum and flip Dominic's pterodactyl presentation into your own thing. Yo, Larry, hold up. Chick stick dinosaurs? That ain't even a sentence, nephew. You came to court with nothing but noise. I need real words, real facts about what went down. You feeling me? Step up or sit down. Look here, nephew. I hear you were trying to do your thing, but I need to know what was really going on in your head when Larry walked in that night. Were you hyped about sharing your knowledge? Or were you already feeling like something wasn't right? Talk to me. Our first objection, will it be sustained or overruled? To throw that testimony out, focus on relevance, logic, or lack of evidence. Don't just disagree, disprove, or disqualify. Objection overruled. Look, Larry, you talking about needing a golf lens to pass something has nothing to do with whether Dominic found that presentation in your back pocket. That's a reach, my G. Dominic's talking about what they saw and felt, and that stands. You gotta stay focused on the actual theft here, not throw random stuff at the wall. All right, so Dominic's saying Larry straight up jacked his pterodactyl presentation and sold it to the documentary folks. Larry, I need you to paint me a picture of that museum scene for our court artists. Break down what was really going on that night, you dig? Well, that was a statement for the ages. Let's start shaking this picture to reflect what you just said. Hold up, nephew. Your girlfriend loved dinosaurs. That don't tell me nothing about how you got Dominic's presentation out his back pocket. The exhibit shows some affection for prehistoric creatures, but it don't show theft. Stay on topic, my G. All right, we're closing this case out right now, nephew. Dominic, bring it home for me. Lay down your final words and tell me why Larry's disrespect deserves consequences, you dig? On the real, though, I need you on the stand to shed more light on this testimony. Hold up, nephew. You said you lost your museum deal because you ain't have a presentation to show them, right? But Larry supposedly stole your presentation. So which one is it, Dominic? Did you have one or you didn't? Hey, so Larry basically made you disappear from your own show. That's cold, nephew. You went from having the knowledge to having nothing to show for it. That right there, that's the whole case wrapped up. Larry played themselves hard. All right, Larry, let's hear your final word. Tell me why that presentation wasn't straight up theft from what Dominic brought to that museum. That was a good finish, defendant. And let me just say, I'm grateful for every voice that's been heard in here. We kept it moving, we kept it respectful, and that's how we do in my courtroom. Look, nephew, your girlfriend befriending dinosaurs is sweet and all, but that ain't got nothing to do with stealing Dominic's presentation. You're talking about vibes when we're talking about theft. That's the real issue here, you dig? All right, I've been trying to connect the dots in this case, but I think somebody moved a few of them when I wasn't looking. We've had testimony that hit hard, testimony that missed, and testimony that just took a walk. But at the end of the day, I've got to work with what I've got, and that means giving you my verdict. All right, check it. I've heard everything here, and the facts are clear. Dominic came with a locked presentation about pterodactyl, had it ready to roll, and Larry straight up took it from his back pocket. That's theft, nephew. Larry never once explained how they suddenly got Dominic's exact work or why they had it. Case closed. Dominic walks out of here with the win because Larry played themselves hard. Yo, Larry, you took Dominic's whole presentation and tried to pass it off as your own vision. That's disrespectful, nephew. You're paying $150 in full damages, no negotiation. And here's the real punishment. For the next 5 minutes, you're repeating every word I say back to this courtroom so everybody knows what real consequences sound like. Now gavel down, we out of here.
All rise for the Honorable Judge Snoop. You may be seated. Courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. Snoop Dogg's courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. What? All rise for the Honorable Judge Snoop. You may be seated. Courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. Snoop Dogg's courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. What? Push and shove club and they nudge you. Call you out and they judge you. Filed a case and it bugs you. Now you're sitting in front of Judge Snoop. Came in as the plaintiff, no witness for the defendant. Smiling and you grinning, cause this case you think you winning. Courtroom chaos, chaos. Snoop Dogg's courtroom chaos, chaos.
Welcome back to Courtroom Chaos, where the lawsuits are laughable, the evidence is questionable, the verdict's straight off the wall. But the laughs are mandatory. Plaintiff and defendant, step up and share a quirky or cool fact about you. Real or completely made up. Whatever you say, we'll turn it into the case of a lifetime.
Good to have you around loved ones. It's Snoop Dogg running the game from his courtroom today. We're gonna break it down, stay chill, and dish out the decision. So buckle up, it's time to roll into this case. All right, listen up. Brian comes to me saying they got a real problem. Last night, Brian had a dream where Dominic, who celebrates Christmas early on the 24th, broke into their house and stole all their Hanukkah candles, replacing them with Christmas decorations. Brian's asking for $1 million in damages for dream sabotage and spiritual disrespect. Dominic says it never happened. Let's get into it. You got the word on the street, but I've got a feeling the real drama's just beginning. Time for some statements. All right, Brian, let's hear it. Lay out why you're bringing dream sabotage charges against Dominic right here in my courtroom. Yo, hold up. Brian, you telling me your Hanukkah candles vanished and now you're talking about Kwanzaa? That's mixing up your holidays, nephew. I appreciate you bringing the heat, but we need clarity here. What exactly are we dealing with? All right, Dominic, let's hear your defense. How you gonna respond to Brian saying you invaded their dreams and swapped out their Hanukkah candles for Christmas gear? Hold up, nephew. So you're telling me your solution to a fire hazard was to just swap it out with Christmas decorations? That's creative problem solving, I'll give you that. But burning curtains and midnight redecorating sounds like you had a real emergency on your hands, cuz. All right, Brian, let me ask you something real quick. You say Dominic broke into your spot and swapped out your Hanukkah candles for Christmas decorations. I need you to paint me a picture of what your house looked like when you woke up from this dream. What did you actually see in your space that morning? A tale so vivid, our illustrators have their hands full. I'll have to reflect on whether what I just heard was genius or a cry for help. Something of what you said there must have upset our artist. The graphic is too graphic, and I'll have to assess it here. Hold up, Brian. So we got priests throwing a party in your house? That's the exhibit we're working with? Yo, that's thin, my G. You're supposed to be telling me about candles and Christmas decorations, not church folk having a good time. This sketch ain't helping your case none. All right, Dominic, hold up. So, you're telling me you walked into Brian's crib in the middle of the night like you own the place, all concerned about fire safety. Talk to me straight. What was really going through your head when you decided to play firefighter and interior decorator at the same time, nephew? All right, nephew, I hear you so. You went full firefighter mode. Saw flames creeping up them curtains and had to act quick. That's a real defense right there. You didn't break in to be disrespectful. You were trying to save the whole house from going up in smoke. That changes the flavor of this whole thing. We're down to the wire now, people. Time for closing statements. Brian, bring it home for me, nephew. Show me why this dream sabotage case got legs. And remind this courtroom what you told me earlier about that spiritual disrespect. That was a fine summation of your case, plaintiff, but we're still in play. And I've got to hear everything before I call it. Your testimony left some things unanswered. Give me just a bit more to hit that double OG level. Look, Brian, I'm gonna keep it real with you. A couple what, candles, dreams? You came in here talking about $1 million for dream sabotage. But your words ain't adding up, you dig? What exactly you mean by that? Yo, now we talking real stakes, Brian. Family legacy hits different than just some candles on the shelf. That emotional weight matters in my courtroom. You went from casual to carrying something sacred. That's a stronger position for Shizzle. All right, Dominic, you heard what Brian said about that dream. Now tell me why that story don't hold water, nephew. Defendant, you wrapped it up clean. And to my courtroom fam, appreciate the vibe, the focus, and the stories you brought in here. Now let the dog step back and cook up this final ruling. Yo, hold up. You went from it never happened to I'm the Hanukkah Grinch real quick, nephew. That's cold. You just confessed to disrespecting Brian's family legacy on purpose. That ain't a defense. That's a guilty plea wrapped in a joke. I got my verdict. Courtroom crew. I'm gonna be real. I'm not sure if we just finished a trial or an improv comedy show. Some of what I heard today had me leaning forward. Some of it had me leaning back. And a couple bits had me wondering if y'all were in the same case. But either way, my gavel's ready, and I'm about to call it. All right, I've heard everything, and here's what's real. Brian, you came with heart about your family legacy, and that matters. But Dominic, nephew saved your house from burning down. Then Dominic switched up and owned his mistake about the candles. That's growth. $1 million for a dream that never happened? That don't add up. Dominic protected your family first. Case closed in his favor? All right, Brian, you brought a dream to court like it was a real crime. That ain't how justice works, my G. You gotta drop to your knees and holler, why did I waste the judge's time with my nightmares? Learn the difference between what's real and what's in your head. Dominic kept it solid. That gavel just came down for Shizzle. We out.
All rise for the Honorable Judge Snoop. You may be seated. Courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. Snoop Dogg's courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. What? All rise for the Honorable Judge Snoop. You may be seated. Courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. Snoop Dogg's courtroom chaos, chaos, chaos. What? Push and shove and they nudge you. Call you out and they judge you. Filed a case and it bugged you. Now you're sitting in front of Judge Snoop. Came in as the plaintiff, no witness for the defendant. Smiling and you grinning, cause this case you think you winning.